Imagine a scenario. May 11, 2026. An intelligence report leaks to the public. Iran has successfully detonated an underground nuclear device deep beneath the Zagros Mountains. Not a threat. Not a simulation. Real. Within the next 72 hours, the Dow Jones plunges 4,200 points. Oil prices surge to $187 per barrel. And the nuclear hotlines between Washington, Moscow, and Beijing ring non-stop. The question is no longer whether the world will react. The question is, who is quietly smiling? According to the February 2026 edition of the Global Strategic Intelligence Digest report, Iran's uranium enrichment program has reached a purity level of 84.3%, just one step away from weapons-grade material. The IAEA, the UN nuclear watchdog agency, last conducted a full inspection of the Fordow facility in October 2024. After that, access was restricted. The Atlantic Defense Research Institute think tank estimates that Iran would need between 6 and 11 months to assemble one operational warhead, if fissile material is available. And that fissile material? According to Proliferation Monitor Weekly, as of January 2026, Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium was already sufficient for 4 to 6 Hiroshima-class bombs. 4 to 6. We are talking about the 8 largest military powers on this planet. And their response to a nuclear Iran is not as simple as the mainstream media reports. United States, $886 billion defense budget, 2026. Washington immediately placed the 5th Carrier Strike Group on high alert in the Gulf of Oman. The U.S. Secretary of Defense stated that all options remain on the table. But there is a major paradox here. A preemptive strike against Iran's nuclear facilities, spread across 27 different locations, many buried 80 meters underground, would require the largest air campaign since the 2003 Iraq War. With the risk of uncontrollable regional escalation. The cost of such an operation? Estimated between $40 to $60 billion, not including asset losses and the potential for full-scale war. Russia, $147 billion defense budget, 2026. This is where it gets interesting. Russia officially condemns Iran's nuclear program in diplomatic statements. But on the ground? According to Eurasian Security Review, Russia has sold components of the S-300 PMU-2 air defense system to Iran worth $1.4 billion, most of it delivered through unmonitored Caspian routes. Furthermore, Russia has a direct interest. A nuclear-armed Iran serves as a strategic distraction for NATO. Every crisis in the Persian Gulf is one crisis not focused on Eastern Europe. China, $296 billion defense budget, 2026. China plays more subtly, but no less dangerously. Beijing officially supports a diplomatic solution. However, Asia-Pacific Defense Quarterly reported that the Chinese state-owned civil engineering company Sinoconstruct Engineering built at least 3 underground facilities in Iran between 2022 to 2025, under the guise of infrastructure projects. Underground facilities. In a country developing nuclear capabilities. Coincidence? You decide. For China, Iran is the Western gateway of the Belt and Road Initiative. A militarily strong Iran equals security for $400 billion worth of investments. Israel, $27.5 billion defense budget, 2026. Israel is the country with the highest stakes in this scenario. And they know it. The Jerusalem Strategic Affairs Institute reported that Israel has conducted simulations of strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities 14 times over the last 18 months, using a combination of F-35I jets, Harop kamikaze drones, and Jericho-3 ballistic missiles. But there is one critical obstacle: distance. The Fordow facility lies 3,200 kilometers from Israel's main air bases. Carrying GBU-28 bunker buster bombs, the F-35I has an effective range of around 2,200 kilometers. That means Israel requires aerial refueling. And that requires overflight permission from a third country. Saudi Arabia, $80.3 billion. A nuclear Iran directly threatens Saudi regional hegemony. And sources from Gulf Strategic Monitor indicate Saudi Arabia has secured an unofficial commitment from Pakistan: if Iran gets the bomb, Riyadh will gain access to Pakistani nuclear technology within 90 days. Nuclear for nuclear. An eye for an eye. United Kingdom, $74.9 billion defense budget, 2026. London automatically activated NATO Article 5 as an initial diplomatic response. Astute-class nuclear submarines were reportedly repositioned to the Indian Ocean, a tactical shift that is no coincidence. France, $56.4 billion defense budget, 2026. France reactivated DGSE intelligence units for operations in Iran. Paris is also leading emergency negotiations at the UN Security Council table, while quietly reinforcing the position of the aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle in the Eastern Mediterranean. India, $83.6 billion defense budget, 2026. India is playing the non-aligned card. New Delhi refuses to join the Western sanctions coalition, because India imports 12% of its oil needs from Iran. But quietly, India has increased nuclear readiness along its western border, monitoring Pakistan's response. Analysts from the Global Conflict Probability Index 2026 map out 3 of the most likely scenarios. Scenario Alpha, the quiet deterrent. Iran announces nuclear capability but does not conduct open tests. They simply allow the world to speculate. Result: new sanctions, but no military strikes. Iran enters the nuclear club de facto, like Israel has done. Probability: 42%. Scenario Beta, the Israeli strike. Israel carries out a unilateral preemptive strike, with or without Washington's approval. Iran retaliates with Shahab-4 ballistic missiles against Tel Aviv. Hezbollah opens a second front from Lebanon. Hamas activates cells in the West Bank. Within 96 hours, a full-scale regional war in the Middle East. Probability: 31%. Scenario Gamma, the Proliferation cascade. This is what worries analysts the most. If Iran succeeds, Saudi Arabia requests nuclear weapons from Pakistan. Turkey considers an independent program. Egypt announces a review of its nuclear policy. Within 1 decade, a Middle East with 5 to 7 nuclear-armed countries. Probability: 27%. Behind all this panic, there are actors who are actually benefiting. Russia gains a perfect distraction for NATO. China gains additional leverage over the United States in the Gulf region. The global defense industry, especially missile defense manufacturers such as Lockheed Martin, Rafael Advanced Defense Systems, and MBDA, would record contract increases worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And Iran itself? It gains something more valuable than the bomb itself. Regime survival guarantees. No nuclear-armed state has ever been overthrown by foreign military invasion. Not one. The world in 2026 is no longer a world that can be controlled by a single power. Russia and China will not allow Iran to collapse, because Iran is too valuable a card. Israel will not remain silent, because silence means death. The United States cannot act alone, because the cost is too great. And in the middle of all these cold calculations, ordinary people in Tehran, Tel Aviv, Riyadh, and Baghdad can only wait. This is the true face of nuclear geopolitics. Not about bombs, but about who controls fear. And fear is the most powerful weapon ever created by humanity. If this analysis opens your eyes, press the like button now. Share this video with anyone who cares about global security. And subscribe, because next week we will discuss, if North Korea attacks South Korea, what happens in the first 48 hours?
What's